Right, everyone, we're back and back for episode 2, but we have transitioned. People have spoken, people have been messaging us, and we're no longer a podcast. We don't have faces for radio, do we?
No.
So we're now becoming the Bush Boppers Footy Show. That way we can vary our posting times, as you've already seen. And in the great words of Wayne Bennett, you know, media's just coming all over us. So
We can't help it. Look, we've got sponsorship deals, people left, right, centre. Merch is coming out, stickers have arrived, coolers are on their way. And speaking of people coming all over us, we have the Zinkaloon Bar. If you've ever been up north, Zinkaloon Bar here, promo shots. They have loved our footy show and they're jumping on board. So
yeah, we don't know exactly how they're going to be partnership with us at the moment. Probably help us out with a bit of merch, give us some ideas. Some bar mats have been spoken about. A bit of stuff to put in your man cave if you're from the bush. So that's some exciting news. We see how that progresses in the next coming weeks as we get more merch and start selling a bit more stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So stickers are out, which means Mandubra Nines. We'll touch on that later, but we will be having merch for the Mandubra Nines. So
will be a merch tent, and there will be discounts if you're following. If you're not following, there will be
penalties.
There will be tariffs. There will be tariffs. Bigger than training. Everyone's seen. We went there Friday night, and it was actually a pretty good turnout for a Friday night. I haven't been getting great numbers on Fridays. Tuesday's been the main night, but a lot of fellas there on Friday night. They all got amongst it. HKH was a big hit.
It was. The 100 kilo handicap. That was good.
We're sort of getting that down to a fine art now. We play around with the start line a bit and the penalty for weight, depending on who's there.
Which penalty is really an advantage if you're big. So if you're little, it's not what we're about. We're by the forwards for them.
Yeah, we want forwards. We want forwards to win it. Yeah. So, if you're whinging that you're a 60-kilo winger, you're never going to win. We don't care.
We're not the footy show for you.
It's not for you. Hence why it's a scrum pack quiz. We don't care about anyone's opinion outside of the scrum.
This is factual. So that was good. Are we going to chop up? Put the video in here? Cut from us to the Bigoted video?
Yeah,
we'll chop it. Maybe.
Yeah, we might put a few highlights in there. Just some bang bang.
Bang bang. Oh, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Oh, it could be. Look at him, he's fucking winning.
Go! Go!
Fuck yeah!
Yes!
Coming out of Monto, Owen Paddy making his debut in the City of Lights, Las Vegas.
This is what we are about. The 3 Moon Magic Man. This is what we're about. This is what we want to cover. Get some hype stuff out. This is what we want to talk about. So, if you've been following the Canberra Raiders, like some people diehard Raiders fans, he's come through the ranks. So, Owen Paddy, as you've all seen, born and raised in Monto. I think you'll find that his family still have their farm up at Monto, so locals. Everyone on Facebook on Monto Brew has been getting around them. That's sort of how we come amongst it, because we're getting around everyone's Facebook pages.
Might be the only time you see green in the Monto Grand Hotel.
All right, Albert Hotel. Green tablecloths, balloons, everything. It's probably the first and last time there'll ever be green there.
Yeah.
It was green and white, so it wasn't green and gold.
But yeah, he really did it the hard way as a fella from the bush. And when you hear about fellas from the bush doing it, sometimes they get a bit of a lucky break. Jagger Q Cup team, New South Wales. Yep. He's done it. He's got picked up from school.
Yep.
Played private school footy in Rocky.
So he moved from Monto to do a schooling in Yeppoon, up there. Boarding school up there, which I think you find is St. Brennan's. I think I've watched some of that, what they've been playing. And then from St. Brennan's recruited to Capras, and from Capras, Canberra have swooped him up and recruited him that way.
Not only did he just get a chance down there, but he made the most of it. And Intel tells, as we know, my Intel's got the greatest, but Intel shows that he got under 21's Player of the Year of the competition. Of the whole competition down there.
So under 21's Player of the Year.
He got down there and he started making moves.
Yeah.
And got himself into New South Wales Cup.
Yeah. Good player, great player. Tackle, tackle, tackle. Seen a lot of people's stories tagging the same thing. Tackle, tackle, tackle. It just gets into, does the hard yards. So great debut. I think he come on with about 20 to go. Could be wrong, but 20 to go is when I noticed it and when all the commentary was sort of hyping up on the game we were watching yesterday. 20 to go. And I think as he come on, it was just the same thing. Good ball from hooker. Kick went down, chased the kick, and he just nailed it. Round the legs, just didn't even miss a beat. So pretty good debut, and imagine debuting not just for Canberra and then debuting in Vegas. So
And he's only got more to learn with that. If his attack is lacking anything, then I'm sure that Josh Starling will teach him a thing or two.
Yeah,
He's electric out of hooker. Old fella from England. Unfortunately, he's not a bush bopper, but he will be teaching Paddy a thing or two, and I'm sure that he'll be getting a starting 9 spot at Canberra sometime throughout the year. And if not at Canberra, he'll get picked up by somebody if they don't want him again. But Sticky likes those hard workers.
Yeah, he does. So, furthermore, we just want to this is stuff we want to touch on, guys. We want country things. We want to do country reports. Attached to that, we got some intel coming on from another bush bopper, which is Amy Atkinson down the Gympie Devs. She gave me a lot of these stories because when she played City Country last year, his brother Jack also played City Country.
Jack Paddy.
So his brother, also from Monto, he got picked up by Capras 2 years ago, and from there played a lot of City Country games, 47th Battalion when it was hosted in Gladstone. He won Player of the Carnival.
And that was a hard carnival in that.
That was only a few years ago, so if he was playing at Capras, I'm going to assume that he was playing for Rocky Rustlers. I would assume that battalion to win that. And right now, this year, he's actually playing for Gundawindi in club footy. So he's a hooker. And then you think must run in their blood. Their dad also, from Monto, born and bred, was a lock playing for Monto his career and making Wide Bay. Yep.
In a hard time to be a lock.
Making Wide Bay teams. And then he got picked up from the Bronx. And we've got a team list from 1995 that's got Matty Paddy.
Right here.
So, right here's the team list. Yeah. Broncos were the ones that made him change from like lock to hooker, and then obviously the rest is history. So, pretty good feel-good story.
Yeah, footy runs in the blood out there. They say farming runs in the blood. It also does in the bush with football.
Yeah. Very good. Good story.
So you wouldn't believe it. Out of Las Vegas, we had the inside scoop. We know people that went to Vegas. Not only do we know them, we know winners from Las Vegas. Titan Industries, Vegas Nines, world champs.
World champs. So we're not going to be our claim to fame that we have any idea actually personally about this team, but we know that Mitchum Dawes was heavily involved in this team. From his stories, pumping it prior to going, the big Todd Carney recruitment, Labour recruitment. So as soon as we seen that, we went, yeah, this is going to be wild. And then all their live stream games, they just kept winning. Titans of Coal, 4:40 a.m. on Sundays. Saturday, 4:40 a.m. I think.
Yep.
Yeah, they were playing one of their first finals, and we went, they'll be on here. And then, went through minor premiers too, so finished on top. And then, went and won the big thing, which then from there, they got some perks.
But now you might be thinking, Zach Labour, Todd Carney, how could they lose? They're playing against a bunch of Americans that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
No. They were up against teams that had plenty of NRL, ex-NRL talent.
A lot of Australian teams went over too. It wasn't like this was just...
It wasn't a put-together local people from Vegas that have never touched the football.
Yeah.
It was serious.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. Lives were good. It's good to get footy back on the TV, but... so they went through and won, got some perks. If you're watching the coverage Sunday, first things up on the ESPN, Mitchum was on there.
Yeah, he was on Globe TV.
He was loving it. I think from a quote, they asked him rugby league or rugby union, and he said, rugby union, don't know who she is. So,
he has a podcast, does he not?
Yes, he does. We'll tag his podcast right here.
Get on there and have a look. He's a bit further north than where we stand.
Yeah, I can guarantee they'll be covering it for sure. So
they'll be talking. He'll tell anyone that has a pair of ears about it.
Yeah. So if you follow his stories, he's just loving it. And actually, I think it was posted 2 hours ago that he was on his way home. He's had enough. He's done the Vegas. I don't know if Vegas has beaten him. I think he's beat Vegas.
Well, gone there and won the World Champ Nines.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So,
now Dawsey's a good footballer, but he's not exactly a Labour.
No, but I don't think he played. I just think he went over as a manager. I'm going to say he didn't play because I'd never seen him in a jersey.
Really?
I could be wrong, and we might have to cut this, but I don't think he played. He just went over there as a managerial position,
Oh, right. Well,
something. But yeah, I don't think he played
party manager,
which, if I was going to Las Vegas, I wouldn't want to be playing either. I'd be wanting to do everything else.
hotel and private
Yeah.
affairs manager. I like
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. So
But
that's a wrap up on that. Again, these are the stories that we like.
now that through the fun stuff, we might get to some of the more serious stuff that, our professional opinions are used on. Gayndah Gladiators have replied to our blanket email we sent out to all the clubs from Central Burnett and Northern Districts Rugby League. We asked them how he is looking for the year, what's your coaching staff like, who's to watch,
Yep.
what are you excited for. Gayndah have replied, other teams have replied, we'll get to them in a minute, but Brittany, take us away with Gayndah's response.
So obviously very successful. I think they were the first ones to reach back out to the email and message that we sent. They're pretty keen to get on there and reply. So the first one was any coaching staff changes for this year, and they've actually got Rob Linscott back. Now I'm going to say Rob Linscott is a Mandubra man.
Yes.
But he's been back and forth a bit. I
Linscott's
think.
Mandubra.
Yeah, because he's saying he returns after a few years. So whether that's a few years to Gayndah or a few years away from footy. So yeah, it brings back a wealth of knowledge, and they actually said they've got quite a few new players this year, and they look forward to not only blooding them, but all their new enthusiasm that new players bring. So a lot of their experienced players have returned, and like everyone, you get people retiring. So that's it. Next one was trial games. No trials locked in yet. Usually Gayndah always have a trial against Mergen.
Yes.
But that's after the nines, always.
Yes,
usually.
it's always a week or two before round one
Yeah.
for both of them.
So-
But South Burnett and Central Burnett have staggering
Yep.
starts, so they'll have to see
Yeah.
which one of them want to play a week before.
Yeah, if they're going to lock it in, it would probably be the end of March, I'd say.
Yeah.
End of March, late March, so that's good.
But if they have one, you'll
yeah.
know about it.
And they haven't locked a trial game in, but they are going to the Mandubra Nines. They said,
Gayndah are.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gayndah are. They haven't done a proper trial, but Nines they're going to. And their comments are just that they hopefully the boys hit their stride, which is what everyone wants when you've been training for so long. Nines isn't a reflection of 13 aside, but it's much nearly the same.
You get to see
can
how
work
they
out.
do in the hard stuff. It's easy
Yeah.
to make 3-on-1 tackles.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
when you get them put in a 1-on-1 position, 1-on-1 running, you want to see how they go. You want to see how they hit. Plenty of holes, you want to see if they can hit a hole.
Yeah.
And just like Matty Curtis was saying when we were interviewing him
Yeah.
after the game, a lot of fellas that you want to blood, Nines is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
Because you get 4 or 5, by the sounds of it this year, you'll probably get 5 games with or without finals. So
Yeah.
you'll get 5 chances,
Yeah,
10
that's
halves
right.
to get these fellas in, get them in fresh.
Yep.
And
Especially
say,
if you have people vying for different positions, or
Yeah.
you're trying to try someone out in the halves, or whether they're half or they're fullback or whatever. So, yeah, it'd be good. Good gauge. It's always good. Other one was any little date claimers they wanted to put out and want us to advertise or get in early. And obviously, Citrus Cup, huge one. This is going to be a big weekend of football, and I'm sad that we're going to miss it because it's Magic Round.
oh,
I know. But
well, you're going to miss it.
I will miss it because I will not be here for Magic
I
Round.
should still be there. I'll try and get
You'll
the
still be
camera
there.
out that weekend as best I can.
Yeah, so Citrus Cup is back. If anyone who doesn't know that's following, it's where Mandubra play Gayndah every year against each other. So that is they're playing it on the Sunday, the 4th of May, because
Yes.
the Monday's Labor Day, so long weekend.
Now, is Biggin still playing Monto? I'm pretty sure we've been told that our game, from Monto don't want to play Citrus Cup.
Mhm.
They are happy to move the game against us, so we're going to play. Our round 1 game is going to be before everyone else's round 1, and
That's
then
why
on
it's
Citrus
early
Cup,
April.
at Citrus Cup weekend, the only game will be Gayndah
Yeah.
and Mandubra, which is unfortunate, but
Yeah.
that just means the boys get to
Yeah.
get to the pubs a little bit earlier.
But, I was going to say, because 12th of April is actually round 1, like Conan just said, Biggin and Monto. That will be, the standalone game, because that is a week earlier than
Yes.
everyone's usually starting. Yeah,
It's a
that
little-
makes sense.
we weren't sure on agreeing to that actually at training because we're going to play Monto in Biggin the week before round 1's supposed to be, but then round 1 we're scheduled to play Monto in
Oh,
Mandubra, so we're going to have to play them 2 weeks in a row.
okay.
So
yeah,
we'll
right.
see. We'll see. It'll
Yeah.
be a good test straight away. We'll know what we're coming
Yeah.
up against round 1, and then we get a week off later on, which is
That's right.
handy.
So Citrus Cup, Sunday, 4th of May, and they call it State of Oranges, is what they call it, which is brilliant name. But yes, that's on Sunday. And then their FAO Brook is actually entered as the Orange Queen Orange Queen entrant. So they have like on the same weekend there must be like a show. Like their show must be the same weekend.
Ah, yes.
I'm assuming, I could be wrong. But Orange Queen, so their own FAO's entered in that, so that's pretty exciting for the club.
They probably have a fashion on the field at the game.
Oh, it would be if the game is only on Sunday, clearly there's something going on the Saturday. So, move on. We go to committee changes. Robin Geddes has come back on as their new president. So, this is for Gayndah. Gayndah committee changes. Robin's back in there, has taken on the presidency role. And then Deb Crawford is new to the club, and she's dove in with the role of secretary, which I personally know is pretty full on. So, good on Deb for taking that one. And Shaquille Cutmore is their treasurer.
I think those positions aren't talked about enough, honestly. The amount of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Fellas that just put a jersey on, put their boots on and play every week.
Yeah.
I understand that we are the entertainment. That's why people pay gate. That's why people come to the bar.
Yeah.
But none of that happens. There's no teams. There's no boots. There's no jerseys. There's no nothing about the secretaries, presidents, treasurers, people sitting in the canteen. And most of the time, those people that have a million jobs to do during the week are then on Saturday in the canteen for 6 hours.
Yeah. So that's good. That's why we added the committee question in there, because we love to do that.
Get amongst them, say thank you to them. If you're one of those fellas that just goes to the game on Saturday, plays, goes home, or goes to the pub, doesn't really talk to people behind the scenes, go find them, go say thank you to them.
Yeah, buy into it. Yeah.
They're the reason bush footy's still alive.
Yeah, that's right. And the last one was just how they look on pre-season. So they're saying numbers have been good with 20 boys turning up to each session, which is fantastic, as you know from big numbers at Biggin training.
That is dangerous.
It is good. If you're training twice a week, 20 fellas, that's bloody good pre-season. They said it's also good because heaps of them work away. So obviously they're ripping in, whether they're working away and coming home, they're just ripping in training, no excuses. Said clubs has great, ready to go, and the boys are waiting to play. So that's good. Good outlook. Positive going into the Nines this Saturday. Good to hear.
Well, they haven't been too thrilling at the Nines the last couple of years. They've always been, being the team that wins the premiership, you expect to come up against a really good, well-structured side. But the last couple of years, they've fallen a bit short and sort of turned to their older fellas that just and go back to 13-a-side football rucking. So hopefully at the Nines, with 20 people at training, hopefully they're throwing the ball around a bit and we get to see a bit of excitement.
Well, if you've got 20, you can play 9-on-9 full on.
Yeah, they can be properly trained for Nines.
Yeah, that's right. So, no, that's exciting. Thank you, Gayndah, for getting back onto us about that. And they're keen for us to hit a training when we can, so which I'm excited for because I've seen a lot of barbecues happening at their trainings.
Well, we'll have to get some advertisement in their group chat to make sure they have 20 people at that training session because I love to be amongst that.
Yeah, absolutely. They had one of their sponsors was doing it last Tuesday or Thursday. They had videos and photos up. One of their sponsors come down, which is like a butcher's.
Oh, yes.
Come down, put on a big barbie for them, so... Very good.
Well,
exciting.
Make sure they do that when we're there.
Yeah, I love it. That's right.
We can do a canteen rating. Early.
Yeah, that's right.
Agnes, same thing. They replied to the email through the other?
Yes, they did. Partially. So Luke Jackson is the vice president and the assistant coach. So I reached out to the club. The club's obviously passed it on to him and he's got back onto me, saying that he's the vice president and assistant coach for this year. He's saying didn't reply to all the questions because he was going back to the coach and players, obviously, to gauge what the answers were. But they said numbers look fantastic. Women's league tag looks fantastic. They had 2 teams last year, looking like they're going to get 2 teams again this year, which is all the more better for the comp. We'll deeper dive into them next week or could be the following week when they get back onto us. But they did send us, which we'd love to do, is stuff to promote. So they're actually raffling a car.
Oh, yes.
So one of their sponsors, one of their sponsors has donated a car. I think it's valued at $12,000 or something like that. And they're raffling it off. 1,500 tickets available, $20 a ticket. We will link the car up here. It's not going to work. But yeah, so that's what I mean. Want to talk about footy, but we just want to pump. If people have raffles, things to advertise, because there's no platform to do it on a grander scale other than Facebook. So
if you have a minute, we'll get the link somewhere on our story or either underneath the post and click on that. 1,500 is not terrible odds, especially for a car.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought, they might be raffling it like a year-round raffle, but as soon as the 1,500 sold, it's drawn. So that could be in 3 months, could be in 3 weeks. After we put it on here, probably 3 minutes. All right.
So if you're a fan that puts $100 in the pokies, just buy 5 tickets to this car and stay out of the pub. Do yourself a favour.
Right.
And you might drive out of it.
Yeah, that's right.
You
won't. Pretty good little car. You can get here is a picture of the car. But yeah, it's a white, like a little 4-wheel drive sort of thing. Yeah, it's good. So, yeah, that's them covered. And we'll be looking forward to hearing from Lukey soon.
Mundabra. Well, they were a bit more enthusiastic.
Very enthusiastic.
They loved it.
I clap my hands for Bailey Kimber for getting onto us nearly instantaneously with his email back and answered all the questions very thoroughly.
With a little bit of banter.
Yeah, love it. So we'll just confirm that Bailey Kimber was misquoted last week. He does not hate everyone in the Central Burnett.
Yes, he does.
But Conan is now added to that list. So
I was the only bloke he didn't hate, so now he does hate everyone. Cheers, Bailey.
So, speaking of Bailey, the first one was coaching staff changes and additions. Bailey is the coach.
Yes,
we can confirm. We did say this last week, but we couldn't fact check it. But yeah, Bailey is coaching, which I take my hat off to him.
It's not an easy job.
No.
And anyone who's been playing for the same club for multiple years, you start getting more involved. He knows it's not an easy job.
Yeah.
But he still chucked his hand up to do it anyway.
Yeah. I think it's going to be very exciting. He's very old school, but, you know, being younger, I know some younger players connect easier with younger coaches rather than older ones and vice versa. So they are a very young-looking good team, so I think it'll be great. So he said that they've got a youngish side, looking forward to helping develop the younger players and looking to a strong, consistent team every week. They want to gel their combos and get shape looking good come finals time. So I'm eager. I'm keen to see him.
Yeah, well, he doesn't coddle his teammates on the field, so
No.
I feel like he'll take that into his coaching.
Yeah.
If he was the type of fella that says, "Oh, come on, boys, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, you drop the ball, it's fine." No, he holds people responsible.
Yeah.
He knows people can do better, and he gets the best out of you, even just as a player.
Yeah.
He helps you out when you're struggling in the middle,
And I
he
don't
gets
think-
he gets amongst it when he has
and
to.
he doesn't ask someone to do something that he wouldn't do.
No.
Many a times I would see him playing in Northern Districts and then 3 hours later he's somewhere in the Central Burnett playing and I'm thinking, didn't you just play a game for Childers? But never asks people to do more than himself than he's willing to give himself. So I'm excited. I'm happy for him. I think it's very, very good. And the other part is this Lindsay Druce is the assistant coach. He's given him a bit of a wrap up here. He's saying Druce is an old boy from the club.
Oh.
He's recently moved back to the area after living away and he has been tasked with organising our defensive structures and our fitness, which... old heads, a lot of running.
Yep.
So fitness is old school. So if you don't know old school fitness, a lot of kilometres on the legs, a lot of getting up and down off the ground.
It's also a lot of kilometres with the ball in your hand.
Yes.
You don't realise how far you run with the ball in your hand. You go up and down the field, passing the ball around 5 times, you think, oh, that was easy. You've done a cap.
Yeah.
He'll have them doing that. He'll have them doing that 20 times.
Yeah, that's right. 5-10K a night. So he's very fair, pushes each of the boys and holds all of them to the same account, which is what you want. When you're trying to get the best out of someone, you don't want to be letting them off easy, especially in pre-season. Like, pre-season's just time to rip in. Not much fun, but...
And it does sound rough, but your top players, the fellas that have played before, you got to treat them the exact same way as someone who's still yet to make their debut.
Yeah, someone who's brand new to the club.
Like, they want to... It's A grade. I understand that there's not a reserve grade. There's not too much fighting for spots because you're just trying to get a team on the field. But at the same time, there's fellas out there that have played rep footy, still play rep footy. They're in their prime, and they're just playing bush footy because that's where they live.
Yeah.
And you can't send someone out there to get absolutely railed by someone who knows what they're doing. So unless you hold everyone to the same standard, your best player and your worst player, then the worst player is never going to be any better, and the best player is going to get a big head.
Yeah,
and I know all about that.
Yeah, big heads. Zoom. Next one was trial games. Yes, they've got the Mandubra vs Childers trial game on the 15th of March at 4 o'clock in Childers, which is the same day Biggin will be playing in Wandai. And
yes.
What time? Is it possibly the same time?
Well, no, Biggin's playing Wandai at 6 o'clock.
Well, so you could fly from Childers.
Theoretically, I could play in
Biggin.
Childers and leave 5 minutes before full time, leave at full time.
Spectator-wise, you definitely could make both games if you left the Childers one and then went straight to Biggin.
So there's a chance, no promises, we could be getting some Childers content and Biggin content on the same night.
Yeah.
Which
that's about 2 weeks away.
Childers is always a big home game.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very tough for Mundubra to go to Childers. The Childers are only getting 2 scheduled club home games throughout the year, so they're really trying to... Yeah. Ian's talking about getting as many people to this home game as they can, getting everyone a run and really trying to put on a good show.
Only 2 home games for Childers.
Only 2 home games.
Did they not just win back-to-back premierships in the NRL?
Oh, apparently not.
And the women's league tag?
Well, why
just in back-to-back grand finals?
Why would you give them any favours? They just won. They don't need any favours.
Okay. Hey, we're all about the controversy. We're not going to make any comment. But if you can...
It's, yes, it's nice.
I wouldn't be happy, like I'd know about not getting home games when you've just won multiple comps in a row. But anyway. Question 3 was, will you be attending the Mandubra Nines Carnival? Obviously, yes. I didn't think of this before I sent it to Mandubra. And he said yes, but we're probably going to have a few players away due to weekend commitments, but they're quietly confident that we can still make the semis and give a good nudge to whoever they come up against. Quietly confident. There's nothing quiet here, Bailey. We know that you reckon you're going to come out,
well, it's
all
Nines.
guns blazing.
It's Nines. If it was 13,
Mandubra
you could be
always
worried.
do well in it, though, which
They always have a good
obviously
team,
you're
yes.
playing at home and you've got a bit of advantage, but really home ground advantages don't mean much all really.
Well, when we were playing for Bondi, we played them in that the year we won it. We played them in the grand final.
in that final.
We had a very good. That's probably the best team we've gone up there with in a long time. And they nearly got us in the end. We only just won that.
Yeah, in that sort of second half of it. But
we only won it by 4, and they finished with the ball, so we easily could have lost it.
No, they always do really well, so I'm excited to see them for sure. Any major player news? Oh, this is hot tip in here.
Oh, here we
You've
go.
got player news, player retirements, or player losses. They've lost Mitch Thornburn. He's moved away.
Wow.
Moved away for work. We've got a little nudge to him saying he always plays with his heart on the sleeve, which is correct.
Yes.
He's a really good club person to be around. I didn't know that he'd moved away, but yeah, that will be a big loss. We've got
a bit of energy at training, bit of energy after the games, on the field.
Oh, culture man.
Yes.
He was one of the late stayers when Monto lost to Gayndah last year in Monto. He was still with us at stupid o'clock in the morning.
He loves his footy. He supports the town.
Yeah,
that's
moved away,
unfortunate.
that will be a big loss.
I'm sure he'll be dual signed and come back when he can.
When he can, yeah. Hopefully you see him at some games because he's always good quality.
Every scene will get him on the mic.
Yeah. Even though he's not a forward.
He's not a forward?
No, he's a half.
We'll have to get him with it.
He's a half.
We'll have to get him with Bailey. And then we can.
Of course he's a half.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got Blake Jackson back in the fold and he's training the house down. So good on you, Blakey.
Would he
Blake
be
Jackson.
related to what did you say the new assistant coach was? Something Jackson?
No. Is it?
Would that be his son?
No, Lindsay Druce his name was.
Druce.
Lindsay Druce Jackson sound the same. Yeah, good on you, Blake Jackson. Hope you're a forward. Sounds like a forward's name, Blake Jackson. Big dog. Mark Fisher is also making a comeback after a few years off with a knee injury. He always digs in and gets stuck in. Knee injuries, never easy to come back from, especially for a big dog.
Well, hopefully he's kept himself fit and he can get amongst it.
Sounds like it. It's making a comeback. And we got Denyon Van Mierlo is back after looking fitter than ever. Also have a few 18 to 20-year-olds who are keen and excited to see how they'll go. So that's exciting. That's a lot of player news. A lot of young fellas. Always got to get young ones around there. Bit the same as Gayndah, wanting to blood them and they'll be keen as. Especially Nines. If you've got some young, fit, new fellas.
Yeah, the old school fitness will get those young fellas really right around it.
Yeah.
And if they're treated like the older fellas, then they'll want to live up to that respect.
Yeah, that's right. Number 5 was any major club days or events planned for this year. And like we touched on before, Citrus Cup will be Sunday, 4th of May in Gayndah. And then they got McDonald's Shield Saturday 19th of July in Mandubra. So that's a game that they play between Monto. So Mandubra play Monto for the McDonald's Shield.
Yes.
Last year it was played in Monto and Mandubra won it.
In Monto?
In Monto.
Wow.
It was one of the first games I went to in Monto. And, put it to them.
Well, I think that's not a bad idea having those sort of shields at that time of the year, seeing as finals.
Yeah.
Finals generally starts in September, and hence the term September footy.
Yeah.
So if you have those shields late in the year, especially against someone you know you're going to be playing in the finals, then it's a good chance to really see if you're ready for finals. The fellas can step it up, and the last 10 minutes of that game will really show who's ready to win the big one. And
heaps of those shields. There was a Pioneer shield as well that was played for an Eidsvold, so I love that comp, Central Burnett. It's always different shields and stuff.
They have always had a bit going on. It's always good blokes. Like, they're rough and tumble comp. There's a few punch-ons.
Which is why I love it. It's just rough, good bush footy. It's not over-critiqued or,
But fellas get into it. Fellas don't like each other on the field. And they buy each other a beer after the game and there's no problems in the bar.
Yeah.
And if someone carries on in the bar, it's 90 versus 1 because they say you're an idiot.
Yeah. Number 6, again with the committees, our favourite part. Committee changes or major roles. They've got Nigel Kimber has stepped back into the presidency role again. So that's good to see.
A relation of
Bailey, yes.
father, I believe.
So back into presidency, which is great. Julie and Mel have taken on treasurer and secretary. They're always around the club. And we've got April Kimber and Brittany Kimber will be doing our FAO league safing. So
Kimbers are very much the Mandubra rugby league spine there.
Yeah. So that's great to see that they're headlining that. And then Rob Sharp is another old boy volunteering to do the league safe role. Again, can't run an A-grade side without all of those jobs that we just mentioned. League safing and strapping, FAOing, all of that. Managers, stats sheets. Can't play without those guys. So
sharing a last name does help do those jobs as well because everyone pitches in with everyone else. We'll have to get them all. We'll have to get them all on the mic at some point.
That's the question at the end. They're keen for that. And then just on the touch on again how pre-season's going and club numbers. They're saying pre-season's been going good. Boys are itching to start and get stuck in. Club is optimistic and keen to play some good hard footy this year and have fun. April, as well, has set up an Instagram page, so we'll tag that here. Putting all the content on there, which is good, so they're getting around Instagram and Facebook.
Oh, we've got competition, have we?
Yeah.
Right on April.
So we'll get on to April there on Instagram. And then they're keen for us to go out for a Thursday night session. They want to do it either Citrus Cup, McDonald's Shield, before one of those big days when they're getting heaps of numbers there on the Thursday night. So we'll definitely be doing some committee chats as well, not just the player and coach. So we always want to do a whole club sort of thing.
See if we can get to a team meetings.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Maybe we'll organise a barbecue at these things that we start going to. Get more numbers there, sponsors, etc. So... yeah, that's my double wrap up. Very good. Thank you, Bailey. Yep.
My number 9's this weekend.
Yes.
Our first real dive into some games, get some really good content, get some bush boppers hitting each other.
Now, the nominations are still open right up until Wednesday for teams.
Wednesday.
Yeah, so I don't have a confirmed list of who's going to play at the comp.
But at the
moment, we can confirm Wandire. Can't confirm...
anyone else from the South Burnett?
No.
Sherbrooke usually take a team.
Usually.
Generally.
But see, I haven't seen any... no one's really up to date on their Facebook either, so it's not like you can just go and stalk their Facebook. But Northwood, Gayndah said yes. Mandubba has said yes. I can't confirm if the other teams are all going.
Biggin are going.
Biggin, yeah. Well, so that's 3, so it's at least 3 teams. I haven't heard of anyone else from the NDRL, but obviously they're getting numbers, or they would have... last year they were struggling for teams a bit, and they put out the feelers saying, hey, if we don't get more noms, we can't, run the carnival. So I'll still be looking good.
Yeah,
We will post as we get nominations, as we confirm things, because we're keen to get there, get some content, but...
pretty sure there are some NDRL teams going.
What do you think? Why do I've got Kalan in my head for some reason?
Well, they're the sort of team that would go.
Yeah. Oh, we do have some mentions coming from South Kalan, actually. Last week we were asking anyone if they wanted to do some fact checks to send us stuff in if we, made an error or we didn't do it the right way or quoted wrong.
Actually, I've also
Meso is coaching South Kalan this year.
Meso is coaching South Kalan
he's back coaching. So
right.
Philo done it last year, but obviously either he's just stepping back and playing this year. But yeah, Meso is doing the coaching this year. We got that sent in. I'm just trying to find Perky. Here he is.
Oh, I've actually got Perky 03 right here. He asked
have you?
me.
Did he send you some stuff?
He asked me.
You read that.
He said, hey, mate, great Biggin video. Did you get an opportunity to ask what made them go to the Central Burnett competition instead of Northern Districts? They played NDRL for a few years and less travel if they played in the NDRL. So, and also he thinks the team looks good. Of course it does. I'm playing.
Yeah, that's a good question on whether they did that. I think you'll find, this is just my personal opinion, I think you'll find NDRL as that comp went through so much stuff last year, or priorly, having to add ISIS. Then they added the 2 Gladstone teams. Then the Agnes coming in. Then the Agnes going out last year.
And
now the Agnes
Gladstone
coming back
leaving.
in. Yeah, now Gladstone leaving. I think they could have got advice from QRL, but I would probably have lent towards Central Burnett anyway. Just less travel going the other way, yeah, but I suppose this way you're a team adding to a 4-team comp rather than potentially adding to Northern Districts if they have everyone there, 10 teams or whatnot.
Well, that's what we discussed this at a couple pre-year meetings, and we said the main points were a few fellas from Childers were going to dual sign if we were to go to NDRL.
Yep.
There's 5-6 fellas that wouldn't have been able to play.
Yep.
And also Gayndah is honestly just around the corner. Agnes is a 3-hour drive.
Yep.
So it's much of a muchness with travel.
Yep.
Monto's 2.5 hours from Biggin, so
that's the same argument from Biggin. Miriam Vale's over 2.5 hours.
Central Burnett heard the rumours and they wanted us. They wanted to go from a 4-team comp to a 5-team comp, make it more competitive.
Yep.
I feel like the NDRL might be I don't want to step on my feet here, but the NDRL Childers might be those top 3 teams might be a bit of a cut above, or
That's, argumentative, but I think
If
first
you ask
one's
Childers,
coming
they'll
back
say
into
that.
it. Yeah, well, I would too if I was Childers. But from a whole club point of view, as a whole, from Bigoton's side, it would have made more sense to go to Central Burnett.
But yes, also with NDRL
Yeah.
having all the teams in and out, we didn't want to step into that comp.
No.
And then a lot of fellas wanted to play in the Central Burnett as well, because we've got fellas that have
I
played.
suppose the other flip of the coin is when you're trying to get a club back from scratch, or, from 6 years, not playing, you want to be able to say in October, November, hey, we want to join your comp and we want to answer now.
Yeah. Well,
We
we
want to
asked-
know, is it going to be 5 teams or we get buys? So that's, I think, better. Whereas Northern Districts are still waiting for Avondale to confirm.
Yes.
So Bigoton would have been in the same branch as that, saying, oh, well, you could be playing in a 10-10 comp, maybe 6,
We wanted
maybe
to know.
1 home game, So
And Bigoton came from the Central Burnett comp. Was
Originally,
the last comp they played in. So
Yeah.
we thought we'll jump straight back into that. Matty Curtis wanted to get back into that team.
And I think from a comp point of view, from Central Burnett, there's no negatives of adding a 5th team to make it 5, which then alleviates buys, like gives you some buys. Whereas last year they were chopping and changing a lot.
Also makes finals more competitive. They weren't a fan of Eidsvold and in former years gained up,
former
not
years
winning a
gained up,
game,
that's
and then
right, yeah.
coming into finals.
Yeah, well, if it's 4-team comp and a top 4, don't really have to do much all year. You've
No.
got a jag.
But
one
now that
game.
it is 5, everyone's going to have to turn up. So
Yeah.
they were all for it.
Yeah. So that's good. Thanks for sending that question. But also on that Perky, he messaged us pretty well after our first video last week when we put it up, saying that he did confirm, yes, that Wallabies went to the Rocky comp because they have an under-19 side that
Yes.
play in that Royal Campton comp. So they're just playing as under-19s and reserve grade, which is what you said on that. So that's why they left Northern Districts. And he said, yes, doesn't know what Philo's doing, but Andrew Mason is coaching South Callan, so that's good. And he's a Callan boy himself, so he's hoping to have a good year. And it's also Gingin's 60th year as a club this
Oh, it's
year.
their big year.
So hopefully that gets...
That
puts
gets them a good side.
wind under their wings,
Well, as we said, they have a lot of fellas going from
Yeah.
Gingin to the Bundaberg comp,
Yeah.
playing reserve grade, then coming back playing
Yeah.
for Gingin. So I'd imagine that they'd be trying to time it so that all those fellas that love Gingin are playing in Bundy, they're going to say, well, it's the 60th year,
Yeah.
we'll all come back and play.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Yeah.
being hopeful, they're going to have a really, really good
Yeah,
side, as they
hopefully.
have in many other
Yeah.
years.
Hopefully, so...
Hopefully
That's
Philip
good.
Lindsay gets back in the
Yeah, Philly
gets back
Phil.
in the green. We
Yeah,
love
you
Philly
know.
Phil.
Yeah.
Yep, if you don't know who Philly Phil is, just look for the fella having a smoke in the warm-up and half-time at NDRL
He's
games.
a bush popper. We
He-
love him.
I tell you what, he is the definition
Yeah.
of a bush popper. Can't tackle him.
Nah.
Somehow he's quick,
Yeah.
and then your chest is moving 3 feet an hour.
Yeah.
You look over and he's having a smoke.
Yeah, smoking at half time.
It's great.
He could have changed his habits from now, but that's what we remember. Half times at Gingy and seeing him just at half time. Yeah.
Who did he play for last year? He didn't play for Ginger last year. He played for somebody else.
Couldn't even tell you. Was he playing? I know years ago he went and played for Burnt Heads for a bit. He started at Gingy, Burnt Heads. Can't remember. Oh, did he play for Avondale?
No, well, he didn't play for South Land. We're going to have to fact check that. He might have played
Yeah.
for Ginger anyway.
Could have. Last year or the year before, I think. Not last year, the year before. He was coaching that Indigenous All-Stars side.
Yes.
Like, players could come from Central Burnett and the BRL. So he could have been playing for someone there.
Oh, right, yeah. And also, Philip Lindsay, if you get tagged in this video and you're watching, I really hope whoever you play for gets some custom footy shorts, because that's what you were whinging about last year. That you
Yeah.
couldn't wear their footy shorts, and also the
Yeah.
ones you had pockets. So hopefully
Yeah.
they get some professional stitches in there. And
Yeah.
They give you some footy shorts with pockets that fit you. We love you,
Yeah.
mate.
Big dogs is what we want. As you can see by the numbers here, this personally made myself to ensure that it was fit. 23, who even wears above 20 unless you're a god? Yeah, big numbers for big dogs, and that's what we love. So
Well, I started in that number 20 multiple times for Childers, and the only reason I wore the 20 and not the 8 or 10 when I started was because I didn't fit. So if you can't fit a 20, you're a
Yeah.
bush bopper.
yeah, you're a big dog.
That's
So
why you wear 20, because you can't fit the 10. If you can't fit the
10,
20, then
yeah.
we want you on the podcast.
That's right. So yeah,
Hence Bluey.
yeah. Another shout out to Bluey. I don't know. Seen a bit of a comment. Maybe someone thought we were having a go at him when he ran out. We went, "Oh my god, he can't even fit the 20."
But
We're
no,
like,
we-
yeah, because he's a big dog.
We loved it.
And that's what we want. Above 20s, god level. If you're not if you don't want to wear the jersey, send it here and we'll hang it up here. But yeah, all love.
If you want to get involved in the podcast and maybe help out with get some merch or get our logo on some of your own merch, just text the page on Facebook or Instagram, comment on YouTube, we'll get onto you.
If you got some big dog stuff, cool memorabilia or something you want to put up here on here, then send it in. Questions.
Any old jerseys, something like that. Send it in. Hats, we get it all up here. So
we're taking off. We're only going to get bigger, so.
Well, people are only human, so.
But yeah, thank you all for your comments. Thank you everyone for their engagement through the week. When we started it, we thought it'll just be a bit funny, but we see people now are enjoying it. So
and we're getting 1,700 views on a post, so that
pretty good.
That is huge. Like and
pretty
share.
Yep.
Send it in your group chats.
Yeah.
And
so we've got the Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. YouTube and Facebook, you'll be able to have this video landscape, so you can put it onto your TV. Instagram, you can't. Just watch it as it is on there. So if you're trying to watch on Instagram on landscape, go to Facebook or go to YouTube.
And apologies if you're fiending for the next episode. We won't be going to any other club's training sessions this week.
No training this week.
Because the Nines are this weekend, and we're going to have a Saturday. We'll probably edit a video Saturday or Sunday night.
Yeah.
And then have another talk next Monday talking about what we're going to do that following week, as trials will be coming up that week.
Yep.
We might get onto the Childers NDRL League Tag girls.
Yep.
Get the girls involved. Get the girls amongst it for a couple of weeks, and then...
That's about it.
That's Bushwhoppers' first footy show, signing off.